Welcome with our people. A half an hour show live from Paris. Beautiful day here, a beautiful afternoon, a little bit hot, 25 degrees Celsius. A lot of things to talk today. First, it was the first world record. It was breaking this afternoon. New sport, new discipline started to play. Later, we are going to talk about tomorrow with Charlie Montero about the big day. It's going to be the opening ceremony, and it's going to be on the river. And also, it's going to be with us. He's right now, Eduardo Regonesi. Eduardo is in a different places every day. And now, where are you exactly, Eduardo?
Good evening, Carlos. Good evening, everybody at home watching us. We are very close to the Eiffel Tower, where the opening ceremony is going to finish tomorrow. Just so you know, we always try to find new places to go with our cameraman Charlie. We say, let's find a beautiful spot to do this live broadcast to you guys. Luckily for us, most of the places in Paris, almost all of Paris, is very, very beautiful. So as you can see right behind me, we are in a square. A lot of people walking around. You don't see too many cars, just a couple of cars, because everything is closed off. We've been talking about this all week, how it's been closed, waiting for the opening ceremony, which is going to happen tomorrow. And of course, we will be there. A lot of sports happening today. 4 more disciplines started today. They are still going on right now, and we're going to bring you the latest results just in a bit. Carlos, I will be back with you in just a couple of minutes.
Absolutely, Eduardo. A big day today. They call it here in Paris -1. Why is -1? Because tomorrow is number 1. It's the first opening of this game where we are going to see all the delegation, the 10,500 athletes. They are going to come down the same rib that's behind me. And this Saturday, one day after the opening ceremony, we are going to see who wins the first medal. But to put in context what's going on with the medals, let's start with the countries that have the chance to receive the more award in these Olympics. Of course, the most important delegation we have here are from first USA, second France, but let's talk about the gold first with our people. That's going to be the last Olympics were in Tokyo 2020. Brazil won 37 gold, but of course, the most important is Cuba, is the number 1 in our region, as you can see on this graphic. Then, like I said, Brazil, then Argentina, Mexico. What we are seeing maybe is a little bit confusing the graphic, but pay attention to the first one, the first column. The first column is the gold medals. You see at the end, the last columns is the one, the total, no bronze and silver. Then let's go to the next graphic. Ecuador is one of the countries that won 2 medals, Chile, Puerto Rico, and Uruguay. Peru, Costa Rica, Granada, Panama, Bermuda, and Suriname. They closed 3 countries that reached bronze: the Disintegrated Federation of the West Indies, Barbados, and Guyanas. And we hope that Bolivia, Honduras, Nicaragua, Belize, and Dominican Republic that have no medals, they can leave Paris with a medal. We hope so, and we are going to be paying attention to all our athletics because we want them to win, and we hope they are going to win. But let's go back to Eduardo. Eduardo, I like Eduardo when you were saying you point your camera to anywhere in the city and you are going to have a beautiful picture. That's what I was telling today, Charlie Montero. It's such a beautiful city. It's a city that's moving along with the, I see more people today than I saw since I came here to Paris. You have the same impression. I can see much more life on the street than on Monday when we came here to Paris.
Absolutely, Carlos. Today it's starting to look like an Olympic city. There's a lot of people in the streets. There's a lot of people with flags from different countries. So yes, the vibe is much, much different when we got here. We got here last Saturday. I got here last Saturday, and it seemed like a dead city at the beginning. We were wondering like if I told them, if nobody told me there were Olympic Games, we wouldn't believe it because the streets were very, very empty. Of course, this is because of the barricades, because the streets are closed off. But now people are walking around, people are, as you see, people are crossing the street, a lot of people in the street, and tomorrow is going to be a lot more people. 600,000 people are expected to watch the opening ceremony live across the Sena River. But let's talk sports, shall we, Carlos? Let's talk about the first record that was held today in archery. Lim Shion from Korea, she got a world record with 694. She took the first place today with her countryman taking second as well. In the men's, we were expecting Hugo Franco from Cuba. We were all expecting to see how he will do in his first Olympic Games. He came to France with a lot of hope of winning because he's been doing very well in past events. Sadly for us, sadly for the Latin American countries, he got only the 21st position. He doesn't make it. The best athlete from Latin America was Matias Grande from Mexico, who finished 11, and Hugo Franco, he finished 21st, as we told you before. Let's talk about handball. Brazil defeated Spain 21-18. Netherlands defeated Angola. South Korea defeated Germany. Good day for South Korea. And Denmark defeated Slovenia. Right now, Hungary is playing France and Norway is playing Sweden. Today we have more action in football. It's the women's turn. Canada will be playing New Zealand. Spain will play Japan. Nigeria and Brazil, one of our countries, Brazil is going to play Nigeria. Germany will play Australia. USA, Zambia, and France will play Colombia. We'll keep an eye on that match as well. Let's talk a little bit about rugby. You were talking about it earlier. We were talking about rugby off camera. Second day, and it's already day of definitions. As we said, Rugby 7 is much, much shorter. So today we have the first qualifiers for the next round. Argentina made it through. Sadly, Uruguay does not make it. Uruguay is going to be playing on later tonight to set the 9th to 12th spot. All the countries that don't make it to the second round, they play today to see who ends in 9, 10th, 11th, and 12th spot, respectively. And Argentina made it to the quarterfinals. They will be playing France, the host France. A repeat from the World Cup final last year, Argentina against France, New Zealand against South Africa, Fiji versus Ireland, Australia versus USA. That's for sports today. Tomorrow we only have shooting. Shooting, it's not in Paris. It's about an hour and a half away from here. That's early in the morning because later on everything's going to be focused on the opening ceremony, which, as we said, it's going to be on the Sena River. We will be there. We will bring you all the details of what this opening ceremony, this historical opening ceremony, is going to be here in France. That is it for now. I think, Carlos, we will talk again just in a couple of minutes. So I will continue admiring this beautiful view of Paris in the meantime.
Enjoy it, Eduardo, and of course we are all talking today also about what's happened yesterday with Argentina, Marruecos, a lot of controversy, so that is so important today. The game is going to be played very soon in Rugby 7, Argentina-France. The French people don't like Argentina after what happened in the World Cup, and they show that in the stadium. Let's see what's going to happen. But thank you, Eduardo. We'll be back with you in a second. Belarus and Russia, they are not allowed to play in these games for what's going on in Ukraine. But it's not the first time that the politics is involved in those games. In 1980, that was when Russia boycotted the Olympic Games. They didn't participate. Let's see a story about that.
The Soviet Union in 1979 has sent troops to Afghanistan in support of the government installed there. President Jimmy Carter was seeking re-election in his campaign against the Republican Ronald Reagan and played his chip on Afghanistan. The U.S. government gave the then Soviet Union a one-month ultimatum to withdraw its troops. The USSR did not respond in the affirmative way, and the United States declined the invitation and pushed for a boycott of the most Moscow Olympics. International Sport Federation protested the U.S. pressure. They argued that the victims will end up being the athletes themselves. U.S. hypocrisy overlooked its military intervention after World War II. U.S. troops invaded Guatemala in 1954, Cuba in 1961, and the Dominican Republic in 1965, as well as supporting all South American dictatorships during the so-called Condor Plan. However, 66 countries serving Washington dictates joined the boycott. The U.S. president threatened to revoke the passport of any of his athletes who tried to reach Moscow. In some of the allied countries, those who disobeyed government orders and decided to attend marched without their national flag and competed under the Olympic banner. When they won gold, the notes of the Olympic hymn were played. Nearly 1,000 athletes participated, representing 81 countries out of the 143 recognized by the International Olympic Committee at the time. The mayor of Montreal, the previous host city, Jean Drapeau, was unable to attend the inauguration. Although tainted by the political decision and by the absence of outstanding athletes, the game went off without major setback. Many disciplines had their best exponents, and 36 world records, 74 Olympic records, and hundreds of continental and national records were broken. The closing ceremony at Lenin Stadium changed Olympic history forever in front of more than 100,000 people. Instead of flying the American flag, an insignia of the city of Los Angeles was ready to start the road to the 1984 Games.
If it's possible, let's go back to Eduardo Regonesi. Eduardo, you are in a beautiful place. You are ready to drink a coffee in those beautiful cafes that we see on the street of Paris. But I have one more question. We were talking about yesterday Dominican Republic that started in football. I wonder how many Caribbean countries are playing in these Olympics, and did you have a chance to talk to any of the delegations?
Yes, Carlos, indeed, we were talking about beautiful places, how beautiful France is. There's another beautiful island in the Caribbean, Aruba. I don't know if you guys been there. I had the pleasure of being there in just working, not in vacations, unfortunately, but it's a very small island off the coast of Venezuela, one of the Caribbean countries that are participating in the Olympics. And we were at the Olympic Village. We got a chance to talk to some of the athletes of the Aruban team. Just so you have an idea, Aruba has 100,000 population around there, and they have 6 athletes here in the Olympics. That's a large percentage, a big ratio of population versus athletes, and they don't have one, they have 2 swimmers, and we were able to talk to them today about what they expect on these Olympic Games.
Caribbean region, it's been upcoming in swimming and also in other sports. I think there's a few guys that have been, let's say, reaching the next levels in swimming. There's one from Cayman Islands, one from Trinidad, and hopefully me as well. We can represent our Caribbean countries in the highest level of swimming. But then also I think all other sports I've seen, I think many delegations have been growing since Rio, I know. And so I think it's a good thing that we can be represented at the Games.
I feel like us as the Caribbean have come really far, seeing even 4 years ago, because now, just to name a few swimmers, I know Mikel is one of the big swimmers now, Dylan Carter, Jordan Crooks. So I feel like us as the Caribbean, being as little as we are, we've come so far in the athletic world.
There's something different that they did during these games. It was like a little copied from the Oceania continent, because the Pan American zone, so they did like a joint allotment program. That means like 16 small countries or islands like us that would not have a medical space, that would not have an operational meeting room. And they gathered these 16 small islands together in one building. And at the bottom, we do have a shared office. We have a place where we meet. So then we work there, and we have often contact with all the other small islands, ask about the athletes, how they are managing. So it is nice that they adapted this concept that was originally from Oceania, and we see Oceania here again. So I think it's very nice, and it's a good concept. so that the small islands can also have the medical room, the meeting room, and just an area to share.
There we heard from the representative from Aruba talking about the camaraderie that happens between the Caribbean countries. They're small nations and they stick together, they train together, and they get to share experience with other Caribbean nations. That is it for now, Carlos. We will be back tomorrow, of course, with more details, with more action in the Sports in Paris 2024.
Eduardo, thank you very much. I have the chance to be in Aruba, and it's for me one of the most beautiful islands of the Caribbean. Thank you, Eduardo. We'll be back with you at any minute. Now let's talk about legends. Let's talk about people of all people who did great in the Olympics. Today we are going to talk about Richard Carapaz. Richard is from Ecuador. He trains in Colombia, and he did absolutely everything you can do in cycling. With his bicycle, he flew all over the place. If you don't know Richard, let's see the story.
Our Ecuadorian cyclist Richard Carapaz won the Olympic gold in road cycling discipline in the Tokyo 2020 Games. His average speed in the race was 38 kilometers per hour. Carapaz will take 19 and a half hours to get from Bogotá to Quito at this speed. Liberators in Bolívar took a few weeks longer making that same journey on horseback to visit his beloved wife, Manuelita Sáenz. It is one more feat of our people.
It's really a superstar. You know, the last time that Paris was host of Olympics was 100 years ago. Today is the third time this Olympics game. You know who won on football 100 years ago? Uruguay. Let's see the story.
To honor the promise to take his team to Paris 2024, Atilio Narancio, president of the Uruguayan Football Association, mortgaged his home. But the adventure of the first South American representative in the Olympic football also involved a blank check signed by Numa Pesquera, president of the national club. The blue team left for France in third-class cabins without coach or physical trainer. The players took the responsibility of under the tutelage of their captain, José Nasazzi. The motivation was higher because before the Games began, the FIFA Congress in Paris took over the organization of the Olympic football tournaments and they assumed as world champions. Without a single reference for their rivals, they went to the field to demonstrate La Rioplatense football play flush with the ground with dominated ball, which kept them on the top of South America. In the debut, they crushed Yugoslavia 7-0 and then categorical 3-0 over the US. In the quarterfinals, they were in front of the most few rivals, the locals, France, the favorite of all, to seal 5-1 that surprised all Europe. The semifinal was a great challenge with the Netherlands, but in the complement, Pedro Sea and Héctor Escarone turned it around. In the final against Switzerland on June 9, more than 40,000 people packed the Columbus Stadium on June 9. Pedro Petrone, Pedro Sea and Angel Romano sentenced the 3-0 to stay with the gold medal and the title first World Football Champion. The players toured the perimeter of the field to celebrate as undefeated with 20 goals in favor and only 2 against. Since then and forever, that celebration will be called Olympic Lap.
The spirit of people from Uruguay. Tomorrow is the big day, the opening day. Where is going to be? Charlie Montero is on the scene. We are going to see all the athletes go down the river.
Hi Carlos, how are you? The games have officially begun, but we're already thinking about the opening ceremony here in France on Friday. Instead of a stadium, there'll be 10,500 athletes floating down this river, a 6-kilometer route, to get all the way down to the Eiffel Tower. If you want to, we go around here a little bit and talk with some people to see what their thoughts are on the games.
I think it's cool, getting cooler, because I'm not a big fan of sports, but I like some.
Yeah.
And I think the style of what's getting is very cool.
Oh, I think my favorite game is usually like basketball and like soccer, like the group games.
Yeah,
For China, I think a lot of people came and we got a lot of medal. I think we are supporting our countries as well.
Yeah, but we enjoy it because we're tourists in our city. It's something that is strange and new, and we're getting excited. I mean, the Parisians may have left the city, but they are missing something definitely.
Well, there you have it, Carlos. You can really feel the excitement of the people from all around the world about the Olympic Games. Remember, the opening ceremony starts on Friday, but every single program will have new interviews with people talking about the most important events of each day. See you tomorrow, Carlos.
Thank you very much. See you all tomorrow.